March 2003, during his second tour of duty in Iraq, his Humvee was hit in a car bomb attack near Mosul. The car bomb weighed almost 500 pounds. His leg was badly wounded. He lost his right eye. His dream of having a career in the military was gone. A West Orange High School graduate, JD returned home to Winter Garden to a hero's welcome. Mayor Jack Quisenberry proclaimed February the 19th, 2005 as Sergeant Ocoee Lopez Day. After the welcome home celebration, after the awards and medals he received, JD had to come to grips with a future that didn't seem so bright. I've been impressed by how this young man has shown great courage and has refused to let what happened to him in Iraq slow him down. He has used his life experiences to become a motivational speaker. He talks to people about the importance of being involved in our community. JD uses his love for his country to inspire young people to be the best they can be. At this time, I'd like to present to you a better fisherman than I am. He caught two and I didn't catch any. JD Ocoee Lopez. Let's have a standing ovation for him.
It was Abraham Lincoln who said that a house divided against itself cannot stand. He said, I do not expect the house to fall. I do not expect the union to be dissolved, but I do expect that it will cease to be divided. And then, of course, after that speech that he delivered at his senatorial inauguration, a few years after that, America was plunged into the Civil War. And we would determine whether the United States would remain a union or whether it would be divided forever. So, after 3 years of destruction and carnage and warfare all across the face of the United States, some 600,000 troops lost their lives to determine whether we would remain a nation. 600,000 soldiers perished in the United States Civil War. It's one of the most bloody wars in American history, one of the bloodiest wars of all time. And because of that, we have what we call today Memorial Day. The nation decided that it would be only proper and fitting that we create a day to commemorate all of the soldiers who perished on the battlefields of America. So since then, since the Civil War, Memorial Day has come to represent not just what it means to commemorate soldiers who died in the Civil War, but soldiers who have passed away in all of the conflicts in American history, not just soldiers, airmen, Navy, Marines, as well as the Army. So Memorial Day has come to represent remembering all of the perished military personnel in our nation's history. On my second tour of Iraq, we were on patrol. We were on patrol in northern Iraq in Mosul. Some of our units came under fire, and because I was a part of a Humvee company, infantry, 50 caliber gunner, they called our unit, our platoon out to go and to back up some of our friends who were taking fire. When we got there, everything was okay. The dust settled. None of our friendly units were injured. None of our comrades were injured, thank goodness. When we got there, it was just a few men with a few AK-47s taking a few shots from the rooftops and the windows. Our soldiers weren't wounded at that time. However, there were two Iraqis who just, wrong place, wrong time, happened to be caught in the crossfire, and unfortunately they didn't survive. They were wounded, they didn't survive that. So because we had the Humvees, they asked us to load up the Iraqis onto the trucks, take them to the medic station, see if we could get them identified and get the bodies back to the families. And just as that happened, as we pulled out onto the highway, a car bomb, as Mayor Vandergrift said, weighing approximately 500 pounds, exploded right next to my truck. Now, I don't really remember the incident. I was knocked unconscious immediately. And what I do remember is waking up at a surgery 17 hours later. Had no idea where I was. It turns out I was in western Iraq somewhere in some hospital in a desert tent like MASH. And the doctor was waking me up. It was about 17 to 20 hours after the surgery. He said, Sergeant Lopez, can you hear me? I said, yes. But do you know where you're at? No, sir. Do you know what happened? No, sir. I was barely conscious. He said, son, let me share what happened. Your platoon was ambushed. A car bomb exploded next to you. Shrapnel hit you in your right eye. And unfortunately, we had to remove your eye. And what he told me next was the real miracle of the whole thing. He said that if the shrapnel would have pierced my right eye 4 more millimeters, I wouldn't be standing here today. So if you ever want to know how far heaven is, it's 4 millimeters away. That was the true miracle that I'm standing here today, those 4 millimeters. And I remember getting down on myself, beating myself up over it because I lost the eye. I thought my health, I was wondering how it would affect the rest of my life. And then I remember that just a few beds down from me, I overheard the doctor speaking to another Iraqi who got caught in a similar explosion, and he lost 98% of his vision. And I thought to myself, things could have been so much worse. I could have lost a leg, an eye, both eyes. I could have lost 2 legs, and you never know. So we have to be thankful for our health. We're here today. We're walking. We're alive. How about a round of applause for that? And I think it's only fitting that as Memorial Day was a commemoration of the Civil War, a great emancipator, he decided that the nation should be free. I think it's only fitting that I leave off with some of the most wonderful words ever spoken in the English language by Abraham Lincoln at Gettysburg. He said, "It is for us, rather, to be dedicated to the great task before us, that from these honored dead, we take increased devotion to that cause for which they gave the last full measure of devotion, that we here highly resolve that those dead shall not have died in vain, that this nation under God shall have a new birth of freedom, and that government of the people, by the people, for the people, shall not perish from the earth.